Well, welcome everyone. Thank you very much for joining me. My name is Joseph Evans. I work for Impact IT Solutions. I predominantly focus on software development. So I'm a software solutions consultant. And I'm here to talk about and offer my thoughts on how we can be prepared for disruption. How can we be truly disruptor prepared? Let's break that down a little bit. What disruptions are we talking about? Well, I'll touch on those in a second. And preparation, I'm going to propose that preparation is in the form of software and getting on the road of software development so that you can be prepared for some technology that's coming in the future. And I'll illustrate what those are. And without being on that road to software development and being prepared for technology in the future, then you're not going to have this resilience and be prepared for disruption. So disruptions we know well about, and there are the known knowns of disruption. So diesel prices, we know about it. It's going to be there. It's not going to change. We've got to be prepared for that over the long term. We've got COVID. We know about COVID, but it's a known unknown because there's going to be disruption. We don't know when that disruption is going to happen, and it's still causing disruption in places like China. China's hugely important to us. There are still 40 cities in China which are under lockdown. That's 360 million people. They say that could end in a couple of weeks. It may not. They have very different rules to our own in China, but that is causing huge problems to supply chains. And when that opens up again, that could be a bottleneck of requirements being, needing to be fulfilled and put huge pressures on the UK in other ways. So when we talk about being prepared, then looking at software, I can propose that software is important, but it's important in not taking away jobs and changing how people use people within a business, but it's about changing how we communicate, and that's communication internally, communication externally. So it's changing how we operate in that respect, and it's about being agile. So this is something that a lot of people talk about. It's about, well, we're a very agile organization. We can bring people together at a moment's notice. We can have meetings and, understand how our operation is working and offer that agility to our clients. But actually, they're still using kind of very outdated systems, spreadsheets, whiteboards, T-cards, at key points of their operation, which just don't offer this agility at all. Agility is about being able to review where you are in your operation, being able to plan for the future, being able to take action on understanding what things are going to impact on you, check on the progress of that, and being able to act. And that software and being able to implement software at key points of your operation really does offer that agility. So Industry 4.0, we've gone through many stages of industry revolution. We've gone through steam power, we've gone through mass production, we've gone through the computer chip, and now we're looking at new forms of technology which are going to really impact on operations, certainly within manufacturing and across the spectrum of industries. So what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about new forms of technology which are on the horizon, such as blockchain technology. Now, we've worked with clients who have the production of oranges. In Spain, there's a tree for every occupant who lives in Spain. Huge numbers of oranges, but being able to track and trace them through the supply chain is incredibly difficult. But with blockchain, you have a single ledger of information which is updated from multiple of points. Once that information is updated, it can't be changed. It's written, but it allows people to be able to track the production, the delivery, the logistics, the sale of an item very quickly, very easily. So it's a new technology which is being implemented at the moment. It's being used in multiple areas, and it's something which is going to be taken on more and more. So within this instance, we had a crate of oranges which was on sale, but there was a bug. They could trace that crate back to exactly where it was produced within minutes. They could then pull out other oranges which came from the same batch, take it off the market, and all that was manageable with blockchain technology. So this is about hyper-automation. This is about having your operation managed by key pieces of software that all integrate. So when you have demand coming in at one end from a client, putting pressure on you to deliver a particular item by a particular timescale, because you have all stages of your operation interacting at once, that can feed through to the marketing at the other end, so that you can promote understanding how much productivity you can produce over a certain period of time, how your machinery is operating, how people working in warehouses understand the quantity of items in that warehouse 24/7. You have people out in the field who are working in sales who can have access to that information consistently updated, readily available to them. And this is about changing how your operation is effective just from the instigation of software which is integrated from beginning to end. So this is about changing how your operation uses technology. It's decision intelligence. So rather than you making a decision at board level and then looking at the different pieces of technology which may not integrate to try and implement that, it's the flip side of that. It's the technology which is then leading you to be able to make decisions on your business which will be 5 or 10 years into the future. So it's about making it work for you in different ways. Generative AI. So this is another piece of technology which is on the horizon, being used very much in culture at the moment. If you think about music technology, generative AI can bring together different forms of media to create another sole piece of media. So within music, you can imagine, mixing of music to create automatively a new piece of music. Here's another example. If you ever look at these faces, you probably can pick out familiarities. Maybe you can see a bit of Kevin Bacon in one. Maybe there's a singer in top right. Now, you'll have to excuse me, my knowledge of existing singers isn't fantastic, but you might be able to see familiarities there. But these are actually computer-generated images, taking familiarities from other people who are existing in media and bringing it together to create a new one. And you might think, well, how is that going to, that sort of technology in the manufacturing process, how is that going to help us? Well, actually, if you're looking at a very long process to develop a particular product, it might go through a number of stages of design. If that can be all automated to bring together, a number of composite designs which you can then select from, that's a much faster way of getting things to market. So with the use of that technology incorporated into an automated operational system, that gives you an enormous power and rigidity and ability to be flexible and agile to customers and be able to communicate that to customers. So when new things are impacting on the global market, then this brings you to the forefront of that market, be able to work with clients in different ways. So it's incredibly powerful. So what I'm proposing here is that if you're not already in the stage of looking at software, looking at ERPs, MRPs, CRMs, how they're all integrated and working together for you as an organization, how are you going to be ready for that new technology which is further down the line? And when companies are going to be looking at using that technology, then you're already going to be a much further step behind. And how are you going to be able to be agile and prepared for these forces that are impacting on you in the future? So I'd be very interested to have your thoughts on that. If there's anyone's got any questions, I'd be very happy to take them. If not, then come along please to stand AAT. My name is Joseph Evans for Impact IT Solutions. We work in software development and ERP, and we'd be delighted to have a conversation. Well, if there are any questions, please feel free to. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The forerunner. Yeah, certainly. I think blockchain is an interesting one. I think there's massive application for that. We've used it in things like insurance, finance. We had a shipping company who needed it to be able to produce documentation on the move when they were entering a new port, for example, delivering goods, and to have that information instantly accessible just speeds up their ability to be as a logistical partner. So that kind of makes a massive impact, not only for themselves, but for the companies they work with. So I think blockchain is certainly one of the forerunners of that. Hyper-automation, generative AI, I think is still quite a long way off in that respect. being used a bit more in the culture than it is in manufacturing, for example. Yeah. What, to use blockchain?
So adopting blockchain technology
Yeah.
really requires all layers and tiers of the supply chain to use it. So how long do you think that could be fully integrated into a manufacturing value chain?
It would take 2 to 3 years, I think, for that to be really effective. But if you're not starting to put in place the things that are needed to be able to manage that multiple input in the blockchain system, then you're not going to be prepared for that. Would you agree? Is that something?
Yeah, it feels to me probably more like a 5 to 10 year thing, if I'm honest. Just purely because it's another technology, so people have got to get to grips with that.
That's right.
I do see a lot of value in it, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sticking to blockchain, is that, I mean, that's a very, very bespoke kind of thing. Do you see something like off-the-shelf kind of blockchain facilities or options soon?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It needs to be in a bespoke build, without a doubt, yeah. So if you're not considering, to have the kind of rigid structures of your organization trying to then fit into a blockchain environment would be incredibly difficult. So you would need to go down that route. Yeah, absolutely. Is that something you've considered? Because I mean, one of the things I've noticed, a lot of people come to me and say, oh, we're ready to do blockchain. We want to do it. And it's like, well, actually, you need to, there needs to be a solution. You need to be looking to solve a problem. What are the problems you have? And then is blockchain the suitable way of solving that problem, rather than, yeah, we've got to do blockchain. It's really exciting. Let's do it. It's like, well, what are the problems you're trying to solve, and is that a suitable solution to it?
I'm just sort of thinking about how now, today, looking back at how you build websites, before it was really, you had to go down into the sort of deep nitty-gritty of HTML. And now, you literally have an app which you just sort of pull things together. And so, do you see that as a realistic option for the blockchain? Is it something that you think that somebody will have develop something, so you can say, well, look, I want to be part of the blockchain, and there'll be options A, B, C, etc. Is that something you can see?
I think it will be, yeah, in time. Like you see low code, no code now. I mean, you have people building software, who don't have any experience with software development. And you have to look at the kind of, because it's in such an early stage, you kind of think, well, what is the strength and rigidity of that if you're building it yourself without, But yeah, absolutely.
I was just going to add, so I'm a data guy. I use Microsoft SQL Server, and it was basically just to say that in the new version of Microsoft SQL Server, which is 2022, blockchain is now part of it. So I think these technologies are moving along, and I'm sure it will be easier, to harness them in a way that you couldn't previously. So I guess all this stuff is coming down the pipe.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Thanks, Tasha. Thanks, everyone.